Did you guys see that news story yesterday out of Florida? Apparently, police were in a high-speed pursuit with a donut truck. Did you guys see this true story? Wasn't as closed a case as you would think, though. Apparently, the evidence was full of holes. Unfortunately, jokes like that have been a part of late-night talk show monologues since the beginning of television. I fell in love with the late-night talk show on New Year's Eve, 1993. My friends and family were partying the night away, and I was home alone. I guess my invitation was lost in the mail. Anyway, I was watching David Letterman, okay? And I'd watched late-night talk shows before, but something about that episode of Dave really captured me. It was like a party, and everyone was invited. That night taught me about the power of the late-night talk show. It's so much more than entertainment programming to end your busy day. The late-night talk show is a veritable time capsule. If you want to know what was going on in America on October 17th, 1978, just watch the Tonight Show monologue from that night. And in the same way you and I know what sad fleck is, our grandparents were talking about Johnny Carson's Karnak bits from the night before. His jokes went viral around water coolers every morning. Now, I'm talking about Johnny Carson because he's the undisputed king of late night. But by the time I started watching these shows in 1993, Jay Leno was the host of The Tonight Show. He and Dave were late-night rivals. Now, Dave was known for his absurdism, while Jay was a little more straight edge. In fact, when Jay landed one of his first big interviews with actor Hugh Grant, who had just been busted with a prostitute, Leno asked him simply, "What the hell were you thinking?" Now, if Dave had landed that interview, he probably would have had Howard Stern walk out in drag to recreate that night in Hollywood. I still think about the Leno-Letterman feud. When it was going on, not only was America torn over the late-night talk show wars, but we were also electing our next president. It was 1992. And I wonder if my generation's perception of bipartisan politics today comes in some small part from how we observed the late-night talk show wars back then. Was Arsenio Hall the Ross Perot of late night? Think about it. The analogy is apt because the late-night talk show is an American institution, and it hasn't changed a bit. I mean, sitcoms have evolved from I Love Lucy's 3-camera setup to The Office's pseudo-documentary style. Reality TV's changed, too, from Candid Camera and Cops to Meet the Kardashians. But the late-night talk shows that our grandparents watched were filmed in the same format that we could catch tonight. And it all starts with a desk and a couch. Now think about your work week. You go to work, and you sit at a desk. Then you come home, and you sit on a couch. It's the perfect summary of practically everybody's day. Then there's the host. Well-dressed, professional, just like your boss, but he's hilarious. Always quick with a joke, just like your best friend. And if you're lucky, he's redheaded. These guys are in control, but just along for the ride with the audience all at the same time. And we could find comfort in that. That's why the late-night talk show has been a driving force in mainstream and subversive culture for all of these years. I mean, it's the only place where we embrace a robot as a sidekick and where we still entertain predictions about the year 2000. You were waiting for that one, but it's also where America was introduced to the Beatles in 1964 and Jerry Seinfeld in 1981. Before the internet, if a kid wanted to hear a new band, he had to catch them on a late-night talk show. That performance could not only change that kid's life, but it could change the world. Obviously, I'm more of a Dave guy. After that infamous New Year's Eve, where I sat home alone with a bucket of fried chicken, I started writing my own top 10 lists. They were so good that I was able to read them weekly on my high school's closed-circuit announcements. I was known as Top 10 Boy for 3 years at Centennial High School. Thank you very much. I was nominated most likely to have my own talk show. Didn't happen, and I was invited to a few parties. So. One summer, I went to New York, and I met Rupert G., who had the Hello Deli down the street from the Ed Sullivan Theater. And I just knew, going into college and into my 20s, Dave would always be on TV, playing Guess the Pie with his mom at Thanksgiving or listening to Jay Thomas's Lone Ranger story at Christmas time. When Dave retired in 2015, I didn't watch that last episode. And I still haven't seen the whole thing. I guess a part of me would like to think he's still on TV, doing what I know Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, and all these other hosts are doing for the next generation of night owls. See, that's the thing about late-night TV is it's a legacy game. It promises that it's late night, but tomorrow is going to be a new day with more headlines, hopefully better jokes, and as Carson's commercial cards always promised, definitely more to come. Thank you, and good night.
you.